Please do turn on the video feeds. It's easier to interact. Thank you. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Mande Jagadguru. Hari Om, Hari Om. Krishnam Mande Jagadguru. Yes. Can someone recollect something that we saw last? Namaste, Sharda ji. Namaste, Suresh ji. Yes.
Namaste.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. Yes. Can someone recollect something that we saw last?
Nirodbaran ji was asking Dr. Sri Aurobindo, about his poem, the feedback from Sri Aurobindo, and more important things to aspire for, and light, force, and calmness.
Yeah.
It was
Ji.
mentioned, and
Yes.
then from Sri Aurobindo, he also responded telling that it is the tamas or the physical mind which stops or hinders to get inspiration.
Ji. Yes. Ji. And it was the first poem, no? First poem written by Nirodbaran to
Yes.
Sri Aurobindo.
Ji.
Yes.
And
Sri Aurobindo
also,
responded. Yeah, please go on. Yes,
there was a incident where Dr. Nirodbaran was seeking blessings of mother for the inspiration of writing poem, and this was mapped as Rajasic desire. So, like Tamasic and Rajasic gunas, we can see in this.
Yes, wonderfully connected. Yes.
And also, like somewhere about nightmares was also discussed, like they are part of our conscious mind, subconscious mind when we see. So it like
yes.
This is what I can recall.
So I think it was a very perfect summary. Yes. I think we are up to date. Let us continue. We'll go to the 27th of October, 1933. Lately, Sri Aurobindo has been written by Nirodbaran writes, lately, all vitality seems to have disappeared, leaving no interest in anything. Sri Aurobindo. It is a tamasic reaction, I suppose. It is to be discouraged and got rid of. Vitality is the urja, the energy inside of us. So he says, I suddenly feel loss of this energy. It happens in sadhana. Let's continue. November 1933. My birthday comes on the 17th of this month. Shall I not come to you, mother? Yes. The response. Yes. I don't know how it failed to be put on the record. Nirodbaran. I try to leave myself in your hands entirely. Am I wrong in my attitude? Or am I to cry constantly into your ears? Sri Aurobindo. Not constantly, but from time to time. Nirodbaran. I do some running exercise in the early morning. Is there any harm? Sri Aurobindo. No. November 7th, 1933. Nirodbaran. Today I saw N with S at 6 a.m. It was at once clear that she has joined the hostile camp. I now hear that she is going away. Yet, she herself had said recently that she will never leave you. Sri Aurobindo. Perhaps you don't know that N came as a temporary resident and stayed on simply because she did not care to go. Finding herself at ease here, she was never permanently accepted. Nirodbaran. It appears he is quite disturbed by this. He says, and it cannot be denied that following a sincere call, she came from her place to this far off land in quest of truth. Now only Pondicherry is quite advanced, we can say. But in 1933, it was just a fishing village. It was a village. It was smelled very badly. Also, it was like the worst of British and worst of French customs and the worst of Indian customs were prevalent. There, this I'm telling from the basis of one more book which had described Pondicherry at that time. So at that time, from so far people had come. So Nirodbaran is very personally disturbed. She had come so far in search of truth. Wasn't it sincere? So that's the question. And it cannot be denied that following a sincere call, she came from her place to this far off land in quest of truth. Sri Aurobindo, how do you know it was a sincere call? She did not come to India to seek the truth from a far land, leaving her near and dear ones. She came in order to get away from her family life, in which she was in furious conflict with most of her people. After she came to India, she began wandering through various ashrams, but was not satisfied with some, and the others sent her away, or perhaps entreated her to leave them. All the same, there was a being within her which had pushed her to this life. So she had her chance, although the mother never expected much of her, nor were we at all certain about her staying or being able to go through. Her failure does not mean a definite frustration. The being that is in her will certainly have its way in this life or another, but it must be admitted that for this life, the chances don't look over bright. It reminds us of this Gita, isn't it? In Gita, Yoga Bhrashta, what happens? Sometimes people begin the path, and then they stop. Do they fail? Arjuna feels what happens if somebody starts going on a path and is not able to keep up? Will that person not perish like a cloud? That was the question Arjuna asked. Krishna, that time Krishna had responded that no, there's no such thing like that. But maybe then it has to be carried over in the next life. That's what we see here. Nirudvaran, within a very short span of time, we have seen some 4 or 5 departures, among whom B had been here quite a number of years. And he was not a weak Adhar either. Adhar in the sense, the base. Literally, the footnote is there, literally a receptacle. That is an instrument capable of holding the spiritual force. So I'll just repeat, within within a very short span of time, we have seen some 4 or 5 departures, among whom B had been here quite a number of years, and he was not a weak Adhar either. How is it that all of a sudden he opened the doors to undivine beings when he was going so smoothly and confidently on one track? Sri Aurobindo. B did not open all of a sudden. He had from the first a violent Asuric strain in his nature, as he himself knew, and he was always trying to incarnate new Asuras in the plea of their mighty strength and power for the divine work. I don't believe that at any time in his life he went smoothly and confidently on one track. It was from the beginning all leaps and shouts and catastrophes and upheavals. I thought I had destroyed the legend of his being a perfect bhakta and strong Adhar. Sri Aurobindo says, we have seen the play of forces in the Gita also, isn't it? The Asuri Swabhava and the divine nature. So many times on the path, as we walk ahead on the spiritual line also, these forces come to play. If you see the chapter only, what is Asuri Dambho, Darpo, Bhimanascha, Krodha, Parushyameva, harshness, arrogance, suddenly it creeps in. So we have to be alert. That is something which we can learn from this example that we saw that a certain sadhak, long back of course, but this sadhak had gone astray after being so many years. Sri Aurobindo could understand that this was Asuri Shakti which was being utilized and divine was not manifesting, but that sometimes pushes us off the track also. Nirodbaran, wonderful question he asks. Is the divine so helpless against these forces or beings? Sri Aurobindo. He says, do you expect the divine to force a man into heaven against his own will? Nirodbaran, you said the other day that we call in these forces by our habit for the sake of drama, etc. It is true, but isn't it quite natural too, since we are hardly transformed in our nature and aspiration as yet? Sri Aurobindo. To have weakness of the lower nature is one thing. To call in the hostile forces is quite another. Whoever does the latter takes his risk. He is going towards the opposite camp. For the marks of the hostile force are contempt of the divine, revolt, and hatred against the mother, disbelief in yoga, assertion of ego against the divine beings, preference of falsehood to truth, seeking after false gods, and rejection of the eternal. So I think this is exactly the Asuri Svabhava which we talked about. Contempt for the divine. Frustrated, God is happy after troubling me. I think when we suffer a lot, we feel that, no, sometimes God is experiencing Ananda in troubling me only, as if God is waiting for that only. But these are all thoughts which are lower thoughts. If we entertain these thoughts get strong. But Krishna, Sri Aurobindo is not saying that is all right, it is normal. We are not fully transformed, so we'll have a higher thought, lower thoughts. Like a pendulum, the swing will go on. Problem is when we invite, when we invite these negative thoughts, that is the problem. You are calling it. Means enemy we will not invite into our home, no? It is something like that. So it's okay. We feel sometimes bad, I'm not good, or God wanted to trouble me. It's all right. We as friends we can fight, no? Chalta hai. The friendship with Arjuna and Krishna was like that. Sakha, he was a Sakha, he was what we can say, Bhakta also and Sakha also at the same time. But invitation should not be done because that is, you are closing the doors. So what happens if you just see disbelief in yoga? I think we're all into the path, so we're not going to have that much of a trouble of disbelief in the way of yoga itself. But it happens sometimes. People, ki, what is all of this? Grass is greener on the other side. The one who is in Moha and Maya is enjoying more than me, and I am not experiencing Ananda. These kind of questions come into seeker's thought. These are all hostile thoughts. We should not invite them. So, and then rejection of eternal also, meaning I do not believe in anything that is eternal, which is great or supreme. One of the first thing is Sanatan Dharma is what we are introduced to, isn't it? Sanatan Dharma is what? That which is eternal, the truth. We are all receivers of a consciousness. Each of us are connected very strongly by what we call a bond of consciousness. As Krishna says, Sutre Manigana Eva. Krishna is a sutra that is connecting all of us. As we hold on to that, we will receive. But you disconnect, that becomes a problem. Let us continue. But Nirodbaran is looking very disturbed because he was attached to the person who has left. So he's again and again, how is the hostile force not, if we see the hostile force more powerful than the divine, or can the divine not stop? That was his last question. It was very interesting, the response also. Sri Aurobindo responded very nicely when he said, do you expect the divine to force a man into heaven against his own will? It is we are rejecting the divine. We are rejecting the opportunity. I have heard one person saying, I don't want this moksha and all. I don't want this divine. I don't want to do sadhana also. I don't want anything like this. But yeah, but I'll take moksha because enough. I've had enough. Are we going to go into a restaurant and hey waiter, give me one plate of moksha? It's not something like that. It is going to come through our sadhana only. It has to be realized. But at least let us not ever invite the false thoughts inside of us or hostile forces. They disturb us. Many senior sadhaks also sometimes get overpowered by this. So these are important things. And we have the Gita Shlok also, isn't it? Dambho darpo bhimanasya krodha parushya mevacha. These are the Asuri Sampati. You can open that chapter and study the Asuri Sampati only. What we don't want. easier to even take out of our system if at all it's there. So let us see. Nirodbaran is still not satisfied.
Uh,
Yes, yeah, Juhi is saying something. Yes, ji.
Sir, can you just reiterate the response of Sri Aurobindo uh,
About
for,
which.
about this question? Is divine helpless against these
Is the
asuric?
divine so helpless against these forces or beings? So Sri Aurobindo has responded, do you expect the divine to force a man into heaven against his own will?
So
Means
what
what
does he
happens?
mean? Like he's telling
Huh?
man is pushing or inviting
No,
those
no,
thoughts?
no. Now we look at this case of this individual. What we can say is against his own will means his is referring to man's will. Man does not want to. He says, I don't want divine. I don't. ये spirituality मेरे लिए कुछ नहीं चाहिए. I don't want to. I like moha. I like my bandhana. I want to get trapped in Maya. When the human instrument is only inviting wrong forces, can
Okay.
the divine bypass the instrument and push the person into heaven without wanting to
Mm-hmm.
go? It's like that, isn't it?
Right, right.
That was the statement. Yes, Deepak ji. Yeah.
भगवान तो सीधा जो भी बोलेंगे तथास्तु ही करने वाले हैं।
Yes. That's it. Yes. Yathechasi tatha kuru, isn't it? In the Gita also. 18 chapters are over. Krishna, what does he ask Arjuna? Do what you want, Arjuna. You want to run away again? Run. You want to cry? You cry. You don't want to fight? He say, I'm not forcing you because I am now so and so. I am the one who is the Vishwarup. I am so and so. Lot of people suddenly feel they become Shastris, no? They read one sloka, they read something, and then, oh, I have understood, and I buy the decree which is divine. What decree of divine? Anybody can force anybody. Divine only is not forcing. He's saying, "Yatechasi tatha kuru." Freedom is there. So we have to utilize freedom in the right manner. Otherwise, we get into the wrong direction. Yes. So can we continue? Yeah. All right.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
So actually, somewhere I have heard that, like I think some saint has said that I will have the power of asuras and then I will do the
That
good.
is Shervind
Then what
only.
was that?
Asurasya Udyamam Shakti and the Guna of the
Yeah.
Deva. Part 2 is the Guna of the Deva also. Means what happens? People
Oh.
reject. Just like people say, no, wealth is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Is wealth bad? Wealth is not bad. Wealth is not bad. Wealth does not corrupt, but desire and lust corrupts. So when I am seeking wealth with desire, that is where the problem is. But what has happened because of it? Stay away from wealth. Money is bad. Money is bad. So all the nice people stayed away from wealth, and wealth went into the hands of not so nice people. Wealth is what? Wealth is the manifestation of goddess Lakshmi on the Bhuloka. So it is divine. Something like that. Lot of people in the name of spirituality avoided the physical aspects of their body. That is the strength of the asura, no? Physical domain. So the meaning what Sri Aurobindo had told himself, Sri Aurobindo himself talked, Asurasya Udyavam Shakti Dehi, means don't reject that. Even Ravana should be understood to be, Sri Aurobindo had said, he is the black side, dark side of Rama. The other side. So we need the strength of this might of the Titan, but also the Viveka of the Deva, isn't it? Just
Uh,
the might is not enough, no?
yeah, understood. The guna
Yeah,
is important so that
yeah,
where
yeah.
you use that wealth or
Yes,
the
yes,
strength
yes, yes, yes.
matter. Understood.
Absolutely.
I have
See.
one more question.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
Uh,
no, no, sorry is not required for a question. It's
so
yeah.
actually, has there been any example in the in the obviously Sanatana Dharma? We have lots of stories, right? So I wanted to know where there any story of something like this, like the
Prahlad,
strength of Asura. Uh,
Prahlad was an asur, isn't it?
oh, I
But
thought he
nobody.
wasn't.
No, no, no. He was an asura by birth. By birth, he was an asura,
Yes.
isn't it? Lot of
Vibhishan
But the
also.
guna of Deva.
yeah. Garima ji says Vibhishana also.
Yes.
Ravana was a Brahman, but look at him. So that is not. It is no. It is not just birth. It is birth nature plus what a person does. Otherwise, everybody will say, Jyotisha Acharya will say, you are like this, you are Asura, you are Manushya, you are this Yoni, you are that. It's all unnecessary. It's all not totally, it's just something which people, and without understanding the higher aspect. So we need each and everything. Everything is important. Let us continue. Yeah, Johiji, can we go ahead? Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
all right. Thank you. So, Nirodbaran is still not leaving, I think. Am I then to suppose that N, B, and others began to walk with hesitating steps, doubting at every step they have taken, doubting at every step they had taken to the divine leading? So again, Dr. Nirodbaran is personally probably very much disturbed by their departure. This is then every step that they were taking, were they doubting and taking all those steps then? Sri Aurobindo replies. It's very nice, no, how Sri Aurobindo is replying up to Nirodbaran according to Nirodbaran's understanding. So he understands it properly and taking so much time. He was so busy, but still taking that much time for him. Not with hesitating, but with hostile steps away from the truth. As for N, one can hardly say that she took steps hesitating or not. Most of her life was drifting in the current of her own impulses. Nirodhan, if after a few years of sadhana, I make a wrong movement under the influence of hostile forces, why does not the divine come in with his power and save me, considering that I have been true to him at least for some time? A very sincere question, Sri Aurobindo. And what do you make of the free choice and the necessity of assent? Supposing the divine does intervene and you say, damn you, I don't want you. You are a nuisance and a lie. I want my own inspirations and the satisfaction of my ego. And supposing you kick the divine in the face when he stops to help you, and even when he lifts you up and sends the black force away, you call it back each time and rush back to embrace it. What then? That is what those who are under the influence do. B and others all did it. It's actually very nice the way Sherbindo is writing it. So that is in 1930s. So he says very nicely that, damn you, I don't want you. You are a nuisance and a lie. So this happens to sadhaks. God is there. Many times God comes. We say Atithi Devo Bhava. Sometimes Atithi comes at our door only. He rings the bell. He says, boss, time nahi hai, nikal jao. Abhi busy hu. I don't want. What is the meaning of this? It is divine force is always available to us. We only are not receptive. We turn it away. And that's what Sri Aurobindo is talking about. Because Niruddha is quickly having a one-point agenda. Will this happen to me? Of course, he is not fully told that. But what if something happens? So here Sri Aurobindo has said, you have been given, there's a free choice. This is something which we must understand. Otherwise, we are becoming prisoners of our birth. I am born like this. I don't have choice. Sorry, I don't know anything else what to do. This birth has, we are just rejecting the possibilities, rejecting the freedom of our birth. A human birth is a precious birth just because of outer circumstances. So here, Sherwindo has very nicely just pointed out. This is what we do. Divine is trying again and again to help. No, 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 this is like this. Sometimes people attach to sufferings also. No, 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 I'm destined to suffer. It's okay. No, we don't need to call upon that. Is it necessary to suffer to recognize the divine in life? Is it necessary? Is suffering a necessary aspect? Anybody? No, isn't it? Many times, unless we get a shock, we don't turn to the divine. Something bad happens, then only I will turn to the divine. Do we have to wait for something bad to happen? No, it's not required. If we are available to the divine, every moment is the hour of the God. Every moment we can experience 100,000 miracles. Sanatana Dharma is given that freedom to everybody. In Bharata, so many people have experienced miracles. We don't anoint them saints because this miracle was performed by this person. In the West, they classify and register a miracle. If you do registry, we will be running out of pages. That many miracles have happened in the length and breadth of our country. So many people, so many of them. These are actually just it is the capacity of a human being to experience it. But there is a lower nature which pushes away. Nirodbaran is still continuing in the same direction. Nirodbaran says, I cannot believe that the divine does not know our ultimate fate. Why then does the divine accept me if he knows that I shall fail in the long run? Sri Aurobindo, what is the long run? Nirodbaran, may I know when and under what circumstances fulfilled you send in your saving hand in case one is assailed by such forces? I am convinced that no undivine powers can stand against you unless for some unscrutable reasons you have not helped or do not help. He is putting the blame on Sri Aurobindo only directly. Sri Aurobindo replies, it is when they refuse to be saved. B was saved several thousand times. Finally, he said he would go on his own way, that the divine in him was the true divine, and we were only indulging our outer personalities. And he threatened to starve himself to death if we kept him here. What do you expect us to do under these circumstances? Yoga is an endeavor, a tapasya. It can cease to be so only when one surrenders sincerely to a higher action and keeps the surrender and makes it complete. It is not a fantasia, devoid of all reason and coherence or a mere miracle. It has its laws and conditions, and I don't see how you can demand of the divine to do everything by a violent miracle. This is very interesting. Should we read it once more? Yes, Sri Aurobindo's words. It is when they refuse to be saved. B was saved several thousand times. Finally, he said he would go on his own way, that the divine in him was the true divine, and we were only indulging our outer personalities, and he threatened to starve himself to death if we kept him here. We'll just stop at this one moment. So there's a particular sadhak. This particular sadhak started believing that I only know better. I only know better. And when Sri Aurobindo and the mother, whatever guidance and all, they are all engaging in outer personalities. I have received the highest knowledge. I am better. Means the sadhak is going against the guru only, isn't it? What could be the reason for this? Anybody? Yes? Anybody? What do you think? I know better.
नो कंप्लीट सरेंडर टू द गुरु, क्योंकि गुरु के सामने
Perfectly,
सबसे
Joji.
पहले पूरा सरेंडर करना
Ah,
होता है.
yes, yes, yes. Oh, what a perfectly said. That's actually spot on, Joji. The surrender is incomplete here. Not at all complete. To the point that personal understanding, personal liking is, and this is what happens. Because of impartial surrender, what happens? Somebody starts doing something, little bit of sadhana here, little bit. It is like in Indore, there is a place called Khao Gali. So many dishes are there. People go taste something here, then taste something there, taste something there, everywhere, little taste, something like that. This is not how it should be done. Surrender should be complete. But if it is not, this is what happens. Shri Aurobindo asks, next part, let us see. What do you expect us to do under these circumstances? The divine is not going to do anything. If surrender is not there, you don't want to go, you are only turning away. This is something which is very clear in the Gita also, isn't it? Krishna didn't start teaching Arjuna until Arjuna surrendered to Krishna and said, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. Krishna was already Prapannam before Arjuna said, no? Krishna already knew everything. He is already Guru, he is already all of it. But till Arjuna is surrendering, because it is not ahankar of the teacher feeling that, oh no, until you surrender, then only. It is not that. You become receptive for higher consciousness when you surrender. You put aside your mental limitations, intellectual logic, past, so that it's like unlearning before learning. So that is required. But here, because of it, this person did not do it completely, got some experience, got little bit understanding, and felt this is enough for me. I have understood. Then beyond I have understood became I have understood better. I have understood better than those who have taught me. And then here it was a little crazy because how people become crazy in Ankar. This person was starving to death. Let me go or I will not eat anything. Something like that. So this is what lower nature takes us. So that's what yoga is an endeavor. Sri Aurobindo said, yoga is an endeavor, a tapasya. It can cease to be so only when one surrenders sincerely to a higher action and keeps the surrender and makes it complete. When surrender makes yoga easy, what is otherwise ghor tapasya. Sometimes you see why all of these great tapasvis go. In the Gita, we have a shloka, tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, jnanibhyo matodhika, karmibhyaschadhiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. If I am not mistaken, that shloka correctly. This Tasmad Yogi Bhavarjuna Arjuna become the yogi who is greater than the tapasvi, greater than the jnani, greater than the karma yogi. How is it? We see this with full surrender and with bhakti. So bhakti will make a difficult tapasya, which is an intense sadhana, simple or sahaj or easy. How is that? That is bhakti is required. But it is not an easy one that way. Sadhana is actually not, no, it's like it is say in Maharashtra, they say, Ha Viranta Pranta. Only the Veera, only the strong people can walk on this path. That is why somebody who surrenders to the divine has a responsibility of not bending to any lower force. Nobody should be able to. They say, Jako rakhe saya mar sake na koi. Because, oh, I am now surrendered to the divine, divine is taking care of me. I can't lower my consciousness just because of my attachment or my own incompleteness. Let me remember. Kruto smara, Kritam smara. Who am I following? Who's Shishya? Who's Bhakta? Who's these questions must come inside of our heart. Then only the energy rises inside. Krishna Sri Aurobindo goes on. He says, "It is not a fantasia, devoid of all reason and coherence, or a mere miracle. It has its laws and conditions, and I do not see how you can demand of the divine to do everything by a violent miracle." So very clearly, Nirodban, this is wrong thinking. Dr. Nirvana says you can't expect a violent miracle suddenly to go against a person's constitution also. Shraddha is there, then you go ahead. No, why should divine bypass this person's ashraddha? So let us go on. Nirodbaran, I ask myself why I lose heart over cases which are apparently failures and not take courage from those who are going triumphantly. Means Sri Aurobindo. He says, I have never said that yoga was a safe one. I have never said that this yoga was a safe one. No yoga is. Each has its dangers, as has every great attempt in human life. But it can be carried through if one has central sincerity and a fidelity to the divine. These are the two necessary conditions. It's beautiful. Means whichever marga, you go to Vama marga, also somebody says this is different, very, very dangerous, this is less dangerous. No, all are equally, all are equal. There's no one is more dangerous or less dangerous. It is just everywhere there are pitfalls, there are dangers. So what? If there are thorns on the road, we will not walk on the road? Why no? We will walk. We have decided to walk on the road, so it's okay. Bring me fire also. I'll walk through it. What are the two conditions here? Krishna says, Sri Aurobindo says, it can be carried through if one has central sincerity, means in the core of the heart, a sincerity towards the divine. Problem is, sincerity cannot be learnt like a crash course or it cannot be downloaded like a software from somewhere. Sincerity is in the core of the being. A person has to be sincere Start by being sincere towards yourself first, and then towards the divine. It will happen naturally. So number one is sincerity, and second is fidelity to the divine. What is fidelity? Anybody? Fidelity towards the divine. Anybody? Yes. We've heard of fidelity in relationships, isn't it? Yes.
One of the biggest asset management company name is Fidelity.
Ah, okay. Asset management company.
The
Okay.
top five in the world. So
Yeah.
we have very high concern.
Yes, but we'll keep that company aside at the
Yeah,
moment.
no, that's
Yes.
why matlab, some
Ah,
that word must be having some meaning.
yes. Fidelity in marriage is sincerity towards if husband is having sincerity towards the wife. Wife, what we
Okay,
can say, faith and trust towards each other. Like that, fidelity to the God. This is
okay,
something. Eka Devo Bhava.
okay,
Since today I'm doing this sadhana because somebody this is the right time. I just got a WhatsApp forward. If this particular graha is there, if I do Shirsasana in this Purnima, I will receive a certain awakening. Immediately you have done that. Next. No, 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 don't today. Today we have to go for the other Devi. That day you did the Narayana's Upasana. Today do Devi's Upasana immediately. Then another person, it is all what we can say. There is not a what we that beautiful word, Eka Devo Bhava. Let one God, let your God, your Ishta, your Aradhya, hold on to the Aradhya. Yes, Deepak ji.
तो दत्तात्रेय गुरु ने 21 गुरु बनाया था ऐसा कुछ है।
हाँ हाँ हाँ, तो बस जब
तो
एक गुरु से आप सीख रहे हो, एक ही टाइम पे सबसे थोड़ी सीखा था.
ओके
When he was learning from the bee, that time the bee is the guru, no?
ओके 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 अंडरस्टूड।
That particular time means you're doing sadhana. It does not mean that now today I have done Ganesha's Upasana means I will never do any other, or if I do another's, you will feel that he will get upset. These are all unnecessary mental aspects. When we understand Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti, or one truth is manifest told differently, or different gods, if you see, they are interchanging their positions. In the Rigveda only, the Devas are this, today there is Indra, Indra is somebody else, Indra, Agni, Vayu, all of them are one. But fidelity in your aspect, and that is why it is said, hold on to Aradhya, because you can't specialize in multiple courses at one time, no? If you're
sort
holding
of
on to,
sort
yes,
of Ishtadev or something like that we can call.
we can say no. Hold on to our
Okay,
Ishtadeva.
okay,
Your
okay,
Ishta. And
okay.
while holding on to Ishta, if you are sincere, your Ishta will teach you, no?
Right,
Why? People who are seeking Krishna need not be oblivious to the Tantra Marga also.
right,
Krishna will
right,
teach you. It is Adami Buddhi Yogam Tam. What is not there, he will give you. Knowledge will
right,
come. But you don't lose that fidelity to the Deva.
right,
Today I worshipped Shiva. Then I just saw that I got Vairagya in my workplace. This was not required. I'll worship Kubera now because I need more wealth coming. I've lost some. I've had to make sudden expenditure in my factory now or workplace, so I'll have to spend somewhere else. Yeah, let me invoke Kubera, or I'll sit under one very great Pandit who is also in charge of a Gurukul. He came. He had come all the way to meet Damleji from the north to the south. I was very surprised. We were all surprised. That time he saw this particular tree. No, you sit under this tree, do this particular japa of Sri Sukta, you will get a lot of wealth. We went to Damleji and said, what has to be done? He said, this is not our, we're not going to do this just for this purpose. It is again a kind of a rajasic demand, no? Give me
right,
this.
right,
No,
right,
do it for the sake of enjoying, experiencing it, experiencing the blessing, but not for this, because then you are just again, shifting from here and there. That is all.
right.
Yes.
I would like to mention one thing. Sorry, there is
Yeah.
another example that I can think of. Actually, in
Yeah.
Indian classical music, there
Okay.
is something called Guru Shishya Parampara.
Ji.
So, like, I actually practiced it, so I got to know more.
हाँ. जी.
My teacher, say, like, it happens that once you have like learned everything from a teacher, they will send you to another teacher. But
Uh,
when the time you are learning, you stick to only that teacher because that
yeah.
person knows how to teach you. If you have two teachers parallelly, it's not gonna work out. And I tried to do
Absolutely.
that, and my teacher was like, "दूसरा teacher ढूंढा ना? हाँ गुरुजी, sorry." And then
Uh,
I accepted it and we continued. So this is what happens
yes.
even in Indian
Yes.
classes also.
Yes. Yes. Even in pets, no, you can't have in the home. Sometimes people keep pets. One dog cannot have two masters. You get confused. Whose order to be followed? This person's behavior or that person? Such then the pets become very aggressive also afterwards because that confusion is there. So normally the if the spouse and both of them, husband and wife, should make a decision. कि चलो ठीक है. Both of us will give love, but when training has to be done, let one person do the training. That is how good dog breeders and raisers of pets also have that system. So something like that we must understand. Our fidelity towards our divine we must not lose. Because if you lose Shraddha, then what's going to happen? You're not having a base, no? That base is required. Base is required when at all times, but base is extremely important in those difficult moments when you are facing attacks, hostile forces, doubts, situations. How do they come? Do they come like in the TV? They say with big horns, and we see, no, serials, hostile forces. They don't attack like that. Hostile forces attack through people. Sometimes they attack through closest people only. Suddenly, why is this person speaking like this? And then your inner being starts shaking emotionally, you get disturbed. That time you have to hold on to that Shraddha Sthana. That is why it is important to have a Shraddha Sthana. That is why Eka Deva Bhava, your Guru is there, your Deva is there. Hold on very firm at all times. That's all. It will help you. It becomes simple. But otherwise, every path is always fraught with risk. Yoga sadhana also. This path also is what Krishna or Sri Aurobindo has said. Nirodbaran says, what a shock I got today when I saw that one of our bean plants died. It was suddenly a different thing he said. What a shock that I got today that one of our bean plants died. It was growing so luxuriantly and overnight. This was the state. Jay says it may be due to white ants, for which there is no remedy. Sri Aurobindo. The only remedy is to find the queen and kill it if it is in the garden. Nirodbaran. So doctor is also doing gardening here as part of sadhana. Holistic. Ramiji also says we must have a connection with plant life, animal life, human life for a full experience. So whenever we get the chance, we must not lose that touch. Shervindo Nirodbaran. This case very significantly reminds me of all the cases I have written about. Sri Aurobindo. Why not take it as a lesson in equanimity, samatha, as the Gita talks about, no? Nirodhan, by saying that N was never permanently accepted by you, you invite me to ask you about myself, which I have not done so far, partly through fear, partly feeling no necessity for it. So Nirodhan is asking what Sri Aurobindo thinks about himself. Sri Aurobindo, my meaning was this only that the original understanding with N that she was here to try it if it suited her and she was free to go at any moment. And this was never altered. It suited her only in so far as she was at ease with no strong pressure to give up her peculiarities, unless she freely chose to do so. The pressure we put on others, however silent or modified, on yourself or Jay, we did not put on her. We left her to her fancies. The reason was that if she was to take up the life in good earnest, it must be from herself, from the being within coming out. With a mind like hers, the least pressure would be useless until that moment came, if it came. There is therefore no analogy between your case or Jay's and hers. So, Shervindo clearly tells Nirodbaran, he knows this your case is not the same as hers. She was not fully available, so no pressure was also given. It was just ground was created, atmosphere was given for what? If you see, let me just look at that. Ah, mhm. The reason was that if she was to take up the life in good earnest, it must be from herself, from the being within coming out. This being within coming out. We looked at it before, isn't it? Somewhere in a previous session. Psychic being, Chaitya Purush, coming out, coming to the front. Anybody? Maybe not in Dr. Nirodbaran's reading, but somewhere I think this psychic being coming to the front. Does
I
anybody
think we
recall?
had heard about that in the even during this discussion somewhere.
We
First
did
thing.
hear
And
about it.
second thing is, if we are talking about this psychic being coming out, we had also talked about some vital forces that affects. Then, if psychic being is there, we won't be that affected, if I'm correct.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
So this is
now it's
hmm.
leading me to confusion. What's the psychic being then? Being then?
Acha. Psychic being, if you look at in Sanskrit, we call the name Chaitya Purush. But we saw some example was in some of the moments, we suddenly feel from the inside a being comes out. Means like, how do we say? It's not like a separate entity, a part of us. We saw examples of people going in nature and suddenly feeling overwhelmed, tears flowing out of their eyes, or suddenly experiencing a calm, or sometimes an artist suddenly goes into the depth of some silence and suddenly creates a beautiful work of art or poetry also. These are all examples of the inner being coming out. Means, I just remember one of the poems I had written on I was coming from Panchayat license after meeting somebody, very corrupt official. I was frustrated. Work is gone and I was on my motorcycle that time. And suddenly I got a poem which I also didn't understand that time. In a hidden sanctum, wheel to mortal eyes, time ready to perform the yagna of fire on ice. I didn't understand the logic only, but the words were coming when I was going on a motorcycle. And suddenly, what is this? What is the meaning? I didn't understand it at all. So, miss, there are moments where we don't understand fully what happens, but that is all. Each person's being is different. That is why a sadhana is different for each person. So that is why Sri Aurobindo is saying for this particular case of this lady whom they are talking about, who left, they did not give the pressure because it was not necessary for her. She had to come out in her direction if she was willing. And because she was not available also for receiving the pressure. Slightest pressure would have pushed her. So the only hope was they were working with whatever they had, no? It is something like that. Some of the other sadhaks, Sri Aurobindo says, your case is not that. You have already made yourself available. You have made available, so you are going to be worked on directly. Yours is not the same in comparison. Means like
Okay, I
sometimes
have one more question.
yeah, yes, we'll come to it. Like parents, when raising children also, some children they're extra strict, and the other child they are not because they feel this child has to be this only I will be able to. Other child, no, no. If I put the same pressure, this child will not be able to tolerate it at all because the child is not capable. So something like that. Yes, Johiji, you were saying something. Yeah.
Actually, I'm trying to draw
Okay.
some sort of निष्कर्ष or conclusion from the earlier discussion we had today about another person जिसने अपना पाथ छोड़ दिया था. Okay,
Yeah.
because Asuri Shakti and that one we have mentioned. Fair enough. So Chaitya Purush can be positive as well as negative, or
No,
can it be, or will it be always positive?
Chaitya Purush is always one. But you see, what happens is there is a mixing
Gunas.
of the emotions. The vital, no, higher vital है, lower vital है. Vital के दो parts है. There is a
Hmm.
higher vital and lower vital. So this
Okay,
is a
so
there's
Chaitya
so what
Purush.
Chaitya Purush in the perfect state is we will experience Brahmasmi.
Oh,
You and I will be like you are also discussing. You know, our discussion is also not required because you have already realized. I have also realized like how in Yoga Vashishta, Sri Rama is being told, "Hey Rama, this conversation also is not taking place. You are also not there. I am also not there. Our conversation is also not." That's the highest state. And probably the aim of yoga is also to go into that higher state in a prolonged manner. So you are able to receive. You'll be receiving from higher consciousness. Means you'll. There are cases of yogis able to understand. Now this person is going to come and meet you. How did you get a WhatsApp message? Did you get something? No, nothing. They didn't have the technology also. So many places it has happened like that. Especially in a particular case also, I was told that this, I think the Mahaparivar only had told this person, you go there, you'll find something. Everybody was surprised. What is it? How is it possible? No, actually, the person just followed Guru's advice and it happened. How did he realize? Because he was connected with a higher cosmic consciousness and he knew this will happen. Go there, you will get it, don't worry. Because that is a higher consciousness. So, that is the state which is to be the highest state. Means probably we all must aspire in this Janma. We can, why not? Low aim is a crime, isn't it? So, we can aspire. Let us go into higher states so we can understand what Krishna wants from us. Isn't it beautiful if you recognize it? If we recognize what the divine wants from us,
Actually, this is
simple,
interesting.
huh?
Yeah, thanks.
It becomes very nice. I mean, difficult moments will come. All outer circumstances will not change. Tufan will be Tufan only, no? But you are now calm on the inside. Right, okay, Krishna, your will is this should happen. But look how many things are working against it. How are you going to make it manifest, Krishna, is your question. You're not going to worry about Krishna, what will happen. Oh God, help me. Because you have already gone one step there. You have understood. You have become in sync. So this syncing is not possible. Becoming in sync with the divine is not possible as long as you have ankar, as you have your personal ego, your personal desires, personal frustrations, and unavailability for becoming one. I mean, devices also, when we sync device, you have to pair the device. No, without pairing, you cannot do that. Something like that, the Aadhar should get paired with the divine. Otherwise, it will not happen. And that was the problem. But, when he's feeling very insecure, what about me? What about me? My Krishna, Sri Aurobindo says, don't worry. Yours is not that case. Not at all. Can we go ahead, Ji? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in layman's term, we can say Chati Purush, the gut feeling that we have sometimes. Maybe
Yes, you can call
a
it. You
part
can
of it.
call it. Yes, yes, yes. You can probably call it one part of it. And you become more silent, more pronounced it becomes, more clear it becomes. Silent in the sense, not verbally silent, silent on the inside. Silent on the inside, you can be silent on the inside while shouting also, isn't it? Is it possible? Yes, yes. That is detachment. That is what has to be reached. Somebody is doing wrong, you have to show you. Maybe you are not going to have this. Everybody's swabhava is different. Some people glare with their eyes only. They don't have to show anger on the eyes, no wrinkles on the forehead also. Just look eye to eye, and then the person suddenly leave it, will go away. It happens. Damleji was told to come and sit in front of when Guruji was admitted in the hospital. He was told, come and sit here. Why? Your presence will ensure other people will not come. What did Damleji do? Just created a conscious force because he didn't want people to disturb his Guru. He just sat outside and sternly, just quietly. And correctly, nobody came that time to disturb. On the inside, it seems jap was going on continuously. So that is something we have to experience. So anyway, let us continue. Nirodbaran says, from all my outbursts of yesterday, I hope you have been able to see that I am pleading for the solicitude of the divine beforehand. Sri Aurobindo, the solicitude is there. Again, Nirodbaran. Because I have very often been played at by these suggestions, and the forces have not exhausted their resources, though at present they are out of the way. Sri Aurobindo. So are many in the ashram. The thing is neither to play with them nor to fear them. Suggestions are suggestions. They come to all. It is rejection that is important. How beautiful is this? When we talked about Gura, Tita in the there means no, you're not having a desire also, you're not detesting also, just observing. Suggestion is suggestion, no? You are a fool. Somebody who's close to you tells that. What will happen? You too, Brutus. Oh no. Hey, ठीक है, that's your perception. My friend, how many times he doesn't get tired? I only feel sad for him because of his efforts. He has to say, what are you getting in life from the Gita classes? Your throat, you see, you will become dumb permanently. You stop doing this. I can understand he's from which direction he's saying. So I'm not getting frustrated. I say, yeah, yeah. He said, you are saying this, yeah, yeah. Last year also I told you the same thing. I said, yes, yes. That's all. What can you do? Because we care for that person, isn't it? That's all. I'm not cutting off from that person. And I understand his point of view. He feels nothing concrete or positive can come out of a discussion. But that's his opinion, probably from his experience. But it is just a suggestion, isn't it? Should I take the suggestion to heart? If I do, I will start getting frustrated with my own dear friend. He is dear, he will remain dear to me. So that is not going to change. But the suggestion is not going to enter into me, no? No, it's all right. This is something I have to understand. No, suggestions will come. So this is what Sri Aurobindo is saying here beautifully. He says, the thing is neither to play with them nor to fear them. It's not to fear also. Fear should not come into your system only. Abhayam sattva sanshuddhi, Krishna told in the Gita. Divine nature is first is abhaya. Abhaya means fearlessness, and also the abhaya hasta of the divine is on you if you are confident. The ashraya is there, the divine shelter is there. What is there to fear? So not to have fear also, and not to play with the suggestions also, not entertain them also. Suggestions are suggestions, they come to all. It is rejection that is important. You have to reject suggestions, even if they come from close quarters. Like now, rejection of suggestion from my dear friend, who is, I can call him my best friend also, that person. And he is saying from his own point of view. But should I take it into consideration what he's saying? No, it's not required. I know it's not. So what should I do? I reject it on the source only. It has never come inside. That is something we must learn. Rejection of that which is wrong. Nirodbaran, I have received a letter from my family. Usual pathetic letter. Will it not be wise to write saying that all their wailings are of no use? This is a very common aspect in anybody's life when they go into sadhana. Hey, Bhagwan, the child has gone ruined. What is going on? Why sadhana? Not this age. What wrong did I do? Why are you doing this to me? All these kind of questions come. So Nirodbaran also is not spared. He is very clearly writing to his guru. He's saying, I have received a letter from my family. Usual pathetic letter. Pathetic in the sense like just emotional drama. How many of us agree many times relatives use emotional card on us? Anybody? I can say they have stopped using because I think they're out of the game. I'm no more in that. So I think Garibaji has raised their hand. Truly, yes. So let us see. He says, will it not be wise to write saying all their wailings are of no use? He's thinking of writing directly. Stop all of this. It's not going to work on me. Sri Aurobindo says, better say nothing. It does no good and only increases the reaction from there. Right, also, you see, it will create more frustration. And in the Gita, there is a principle, isn't it? Na buddhi bhedam. Don't create a divide in the mind which is already attached. It will remain attached. Don't try to give Brahma Gyan to someone who does not want. So it does better say nothing. It does no good and only increases the reaction from there. Many times what happens, you say something with a particular intention. That saying only becomes a problem because they have not taken the intention at all. They don't care about that intention at all. Your word is going to be used against you. I think in foreign countries, the police say the same thing, isn't it? You have the right to remain silent. All words that can be used against you. So people are smart enough. They don't speak anything. They say, my lawyer will talk when the time comes. No words from me. Something like that. Sherwin will still better don't say anything. Don't Arjun this the Nirodbaran is feeling very emotional, so he wants to quickly give a response. No, calm, quiet. Let us continue. Nirodbaran is asking, when you give us flowers, are we to aspire for the things they stand for? Or do you give them with the flowers? Because in the darshana, they would be given flowers, different flowers. The mother had described the spiritual significance of each flower. Since hibiscus was called power, power in the sense the spiritual strength. So many people try to meditate using the flower. Flower meditation is also a beautiful method which is there. You can actually download also from online all the flowers and their significances. You can just use the flower as a source of your energy. Like that, there is this Gokarna. That flower is called Radha's consciousness. It's beautiful blue flower, Aparijat, I think. I think, yeah. So, like that, different flowers are there. So here he's asked, what is it? Sharvina says, there is no fixed rule. Sometimes it is one, sometimes the other. But even when the thing is given, it is given a power. It has to be realized by the sadhak in consciousness. And for that, aspiration is necessary. Nirodbaran, the fountain of poetry has dried up. Not only so, there is a feeling of disgust for poetry. Is it due to inertia? Share with He says, tamas. The disgust is also tamasic. Nirodban, if this disgust is due to tamas, will you tell me how to drive this tamas out? Shri Aurobindo, use your will. One just short word. Nirodban, is there inspiration the source of all ideas? Shri Aurobindo, at any rate in poetry, it is. Nirodban, last night, as I was meditating in a half sleepy state, I had a vision of a most gorgeous auroral display of colors in the eastern horizon, one color being added to and superimposed on the other in quick succession. The sort of display one sees before the sun rises, only infinitely grander. I don't remember whether your image flashed through before or after the vision. Has it any significance? So our Nirodhan finally got a wonderful experience also. He's asking what is the significance of this. Sri Aurobindo. The play of colors is the play of forces, and on the east indicates that it is the beginning or something is about to begin. Mother, Nirodhan writes, Mother, your reproachful look in the morning put me out of all good cheer. Is it due to the lingering desire in me? Nirodhan, this is an imagination. Sri Aurobindo, this is an imagination, as usual. There was no reproach. Of course, mother saw that you had been touched by the desire, but there was no feeling of reproach in her. We'll probably read three more and then we'll call it a day. That is, 1933 will be completed. We'll enter into 1934 next. So, the divine pushes me, Nirodban says, the divine pushes me to such tests when he knows so well, and then I get a none too happy look from you. He's complaining about that. Sri Aurobindo says, the imagination of a none too happy look. I repeat, there was no reproach. Nirodban, would you advise me not to go to X as aid and in her illness? Sri Aurobindo, I can't very well say that. I could only say so if there was somebody else who was willing to help her. Nirodban, for some time past, I have been feeling as if I were receding from the divine. Or is it the divine that is receding from me? Sri Aurobindo, the divine does not recede. For yourself, you are probably not so much receding as getting into the part where there is difficulty. I mean, you have projected yourself from the mind into the vital. It would have been better if you had drawn back into the psychic. But since you are there, you have only to force your way through it to the psychic gates. So Shravinda is talking about some inner movement inside of the sadhak which has taken place. The divine is not receding. This is something which is important. We must understand. God was close to me, now he is not. God is equidistant to all, no? And he's present at all times. We only feel, this period, God was not with me. But there's no such thing like that. It is only our perception. And here in Nirodharan's case, Sri Aurobindo is talking about how he projected himself from the mind into the vital. So again, lower vital emotional desires suddenly started coming inside. So that became the problem. It would have been better if he withdrew, took one step back, but he engaged in it. That is what now he has to force himself to rise above it into the psychic. Nirodharan, I want to offer you the best cheese available here and a tin of biscuits. I hope you will accept. Sri Aurobindo, certainly we accept. With this, we will stop here. So, if we want to just summarize, anybody would like to summarize something? And then we can have a small discussion and then conclude our session today. Yes, what did we see today, or is there something you would like to look at? Anybody?
I couldn't understand the last reply from Sri Aurobindo that the divinity wasn't receding, it was you, and then you have to do something to
So,
Niruddharan,
yeah,
and then I
I'll
got
tell you.
confused.
Yeah, okay, you didn't understand. Like, divinity is not receding. That is what first line. Second line was for yourself, you are probably not so much receding as getting into the part where there is difficulty. Means in his sadhana, he is going through a difficult moment. So in that difficult moment, he is imagining he is receding because he is experiencing difficulty. A challenge comes into us. Challenge comes to us. That time we feel, Arey, am I falling? Am I going down? Am I lowering myself?
Okay, then
Is
what to do then? Yeah, understood.
that part is understood. So next part, sharing this is what has happened is, I mean, you have projected yourself from the mind into the vital. Meaning challenge came, Arey, God is like this. God has given me this much trouble. Oh no, maybe I am not worthy of it. Or this is in my fate. How many times we have decided and sometimes dismissed ourselves thinking of fate? Anybody has done it? Yeah, this is my fate. What to do?
Yeah, my mom has done that.
Acha. All right. So this is actually, on a vital level, this has happened because challenge has come. Why does challenge come in our life? To strengthen us, to make us better, to make us stronger. If you take out the challenge, you will not be what you are. So instead, you must embrace the challenge. But challenge is difficult, no? So in difficult times, we are more vulnerable. And so easily, if we are attached, if we have a tendency to go into vital, lower vital, go and get emotional, what's going to happen? There you will fail because of that only. And here in Nirodhan's case, you are not receding, is what Sri Aurobindo has said. You are not receding at all. Only challenges come, so you are now suffering because of the challenge, because you have not faced the challenge in a proper manner. Sri Aurobindo says, what would have been better? He says, it would have been better if you had drawn back into the psychic. Means it would have been better if you had taken one step back. But now, since he has not done it, also Sri Aurobindo says, but since you are there, you have to only force your way through it to the psychic gates. Means again, what we can see, you have to say, chalo, theek hai, I have not been able to completely come out of my emotions. All right, use your emotions. Use the emotion as a vehicle to come out of it somehow. Summon vital, chalo, theek hai, now lower vital, I'll try to convert into higher vital. Means emotionally, I'm feeling sad. Everything is going against my wish. Everything is going against the aspiration. All are too challenging. This is an emotional thought. This is an emotional thought of sorrow, an emotional thought of rejection, an emotional thought of despair, isn't it? But then there's a saying, no, loha lohe ko katta hai. Something like that. Use emotion. Chalo, I am Shishya of XYZ. I am Bhakta of this Devat. Summon the energy. Chalo, force that way open. Bro, break it. I am Krishna's follower. Krishna is powerful enough to take me through. He has told Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां Yogakshemam Vahamyam. I am always in Nitya Chintan of my dear Krishna. So where am I going to be? Where will I fail? What will happen? Wherever Krishna sends me, I'll go happily. I'll see that Krishna is sending me. I'll understand. I'll find my way. I'll force my way into from a difficult situation also. I'll find the light. That is the approach we can have. That is the ideal approach. That is what we see here. Yes, Johiji, is that okay?
Understood. Yeah,
Yeah.
understood. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you then. All right then. I think this is interesting now. Suddenly, more and more we are seeing inner turn in the sadhana. And afterwards, it's going to become more fun also because Krishna and I mean, Sri Aurobindo, I'm calling them Krishna and Arjuna. I don't see any difference actually. But Nirodbaran's sadhana also will go ahead, and there's going to be a lot of humor also, which is going to be interesting. And I think this book actually teaches us that should be an important part of our life also. We should have a good sense of humor. If you can have it about yourself, nothing better than that. If you can laugh at yourself, no, at your own shortcomings, then it's okay. Acha, theek hai, all right, fine, and go ahead because humor will allow you to actually see things and go ahead. Because otherwise, your mind will attach to lower thoughts. I think when I was just in my college, second, third year, I remember I had to travel to Chennai because I wanted to do MBA and I wanted to go to the best coaching class, which was not in Pondicherry. So weekend, I used to catch a bus and go. That time, I remember in Chennai, I saw a young blind boy. He was on the street. He was walking around and I suddenly saw he missed a step. I felt so sad emotionally. I was like, "Arey, what is this? He must be feeling so sad. He cannot see anything. What suffering he must be going through." That time I saw there was a smile on his face. And when he was joined by one more blind boy, he puts his hand around them and they're walking together with their stick in their hand. They know they are each other and he's just, for him, it's a regular thing. It was nothing. He was able to take it in a humor. And then later on, I wrote a poem, World's Happiest Person. It was about this boy only. So I was like, "Arey, I am only not unhappy. I mean, I am only not happy looking at all of this. But this person is actually happy and experiencing it. And see, his fall or his slipping, he is able to laugh at it. Why am I not able to experience my fall? And if I slip and fall once in a while, it's okay. No, if you try to run, you will slip. If you take some steps, it's okay." So probably this one thing about Sri Aurobindo says yoga is not so easy, but if your surrender is clear, sincerity is clear, sincerity is on the inside, and Eka Devo Bhava. Yog Marg is also easy, is the truth. That is one truth. You will not, time will also go without your realization. For me, I don't know, 13 years I'm spending with Damliji. I still feel at least 1 centimeter growth of intelligence happens. It's good, but not able to fully judge what has happened. But time has flown like that. Like that, all of us must aspire very strongly. For aspiration, we must have a grounding somewhere, one sthana, Shraddha sthana, and hold on to that. So probably let us see. Next week we will continue with this and some. I think yes, one we have all of you. I'll try to find a book of if it is available, and I can if it is also shareable. We will see. Again, it is recorded, so I cannot say it was shareable or not. Afterwards, we can. If I find something, I'll share it to you. Of course, nobody should download any file which is not to be downloaded also. I'm not trying to support anything, but I'm sure Dr. Nirodbaran also would want us to study more about him. So yes, with this, can someone summarize something or you would like to add or share something or we'll conclude our session? Yes, please.
Sir, mostly in this session, I found like many of the places, Dr. Nirodbaran's doubt was like why divine couldn't help a sadhak when a sadhak is in not good state.
Yeah.
So that was his doubt, 2 or 3 places. So then
Yes.
Sri Aurobindo is like it is like will of a man. Like
Yes.
अगर जब so divine cannot do against a man's will.
Yes,
So
yes,
this
yes. That
is
is because in sadhana, at least it is like that. In
yeah,
Prakriti, we know, no? Force of divine is greater than the force of man, definitely in Prakriti. Nature, you
yes,
do it or you'll be forced to do it. That is when
yes,
nature works. But on the sadhana marga, why is sadhana marga so special or so important is the chance for rapid evolution, rapid progress to transformation, bending the laws of nature. Say what somebody needs to take so many years of experience to grow and reach a particular state. With Krupa of Guru, with Krupa of the Aradhya, with Krupa of the Deva, transformation can happen quickly, what we call God speed. But for that transformation only, we should be available. If will is not
yes,
there, we cannot. And one of the reasons why Nirodbaran was asking those questions was he was thinking about his own case, isn't it? If
mm,
these great sadhaks can go away, what about me? What will happen to me? That shows he is very much like all of us only, no?
yes,
That is something very, that is why Gita also is so special because Arjuna is like all of us. He asks questions which come into our hearts. Dr. Nirodbaran is also asking. Again, the aspect of sincerity was there. That is why Dr. Nirodbaran became such a great sadhak also. Very much respected one.
And so just one thing. So this
Yeah.
sincerity concept, I remember when we started discussing about this concept. So there was an incident where one sadhak was leaving ashram, and the
Yeah.
same question was asked by Dr. Nirodbaran, why Sri Aurobindo didn't stop the sadhak from leaving the ashram. Then also the same
Sincere.
sincerity thing. He said that he was not sincere
Sincerity
enough.
was not there.
Yes,
Uh,
and here also I think this N, whoever this N is, so then it can be carried through sincerity and fidelity thing.
Towards the divine. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
And sincerity we know in our hearts. We know for ourselves.
Yes.
I am
So this
sincere
shows how much
with the
weightage
uh,
Sri Aurobindo is also giving to sincerity.
yes, and in sadhana also, not just Sri Aurobindo giving importance, it is a requirement in our sadhana.
Yes.
And everywhere we want sincerity, isn't it? We want sincerity in
Yes.
our
Yes.
relationships. We want
Correct.
sincerity in our friendships. We want sincerity in everywhere, wherever we go, because it is a very important thing. Everything else
Yes.
comes on its own afterwards. It is a most underestimated quality, this
Yes.
one sincerity. Sincerity is there, sadhak will receive everything. Buddhi, jnana, shakti, all material wealth, material strength, everything comes to the instrument that is ready to receive. But to become ready to receive, you must be sincere. Because if it is
Yes.
not there, what you received also will get lost. Yeah, all right, Ji. So let us conclude. Hari Om. Let us conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् यस हरि ओम जी